It's Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Mariah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, YK in the building.
Joe, good morning.
How you
morning.
doing?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Very well.
You can see that you're going for...
I'm going for an event today.
Today?
Final burial rites for my auntie's husband.
Okay.
There.
Okay, me, I don't have gist, though. I'm just here.
I like your color. It's really cute on you.
Peach.
Is that peach? Yeah. I was
You know these shoes I'm wearing? I've had them for years and I've never worn them.
Can you imagine?
Wow,
I didn't even notice. Oh,
you forgot them.
You know, I forgot them.
I wish I was your size, YK.
You know, and I just found them and now they've started peeling. I'm like, yeah, and I never wore this shoe. I will wear it.
This shoes, actually, I just remember my cousin actually got
peeling.
this shoes for me in the UK. Very pretty, nice shoes.
Yes.
Yeah,
wow,
pink,
so
nice.
pretty.
Let me thank you for the shoes.
Are your toes painted?
Yeah.
Hey, Mariah, you are going nuclear. You are going nuclear.
How you doing, Nima Jare? My YK.
Fine, okay. I had just on Monday. So who determines which kind of card you carry, the bank or you? So as a bank account holder, can't you just walk into the bank and say, I want a Visa, Master, or Verve, or whichever of the cards that is in operation?
Oh, really? I didn't know you had that choice.
Bank now told me, they gave me Visa and it expired. We no longer give that card here. You have to use a Verve. I'm used to, I have different accounts, different cards for a reason. Can I get a Visa?
I never knew that we could choose.
They don't give you that
I don't
choice.
know if you can
I didn't know you could choose.
It's a blue bank, the branch in Trade Fair. The pregnant woman just looked at me. That's what we have. And if you don't want it, I cannot help you. And I'm an account holder. Me, if I just ready to go out because she's pregnant. Because the drama will not happen.
So are you saying that you can enter and ask for either the
You can ask
Visa
for the
or
card that you want.
They don't give you options anymore. They give you what they have.
They don't insist on the card you carry.
Yeah.
When the central bank is trying to say that you cannot carry cash again, it's only, and then the banks don't even
And they are
have...
restricting you.
Anyways.
Still
know how
talking
far.
about
How you doing?
banks. Yes.
Our bank
So
is our target this month.
yes. So I don't know what's happening to GTB. They've been taking people's
I don't mention their names now.
No, because this woman has written to the CBN already. Money has been missing from her account. So she has written, in fact, we drafted a letter together in my bedroom 2 days ago and sent it to the CBN. Yesterday, we were still talking about it when another money missed from the account. And everybody has been complaining around. I said I was going to bring it to their attention. I don't know what's happening. I think they need to sort it out at the back end with their technical team. Money is missing from different accounts. I have a friend who has written to the CBN already. The matter has been on since August. And I said I was going to talk about it. For someone like me, it may miss and I don't pay attention. I may not even know that money is missing.
The banks are also suffering the exodus in Canada.
Yes.
Most of their technical staff have gone. They don't know what to do. They are now inviting Indians to handle most of their tech job. And these people...
you can't categorically
let
say
me finish
that
what I'm
That's
saying.
what's happening. No?
The language difference is affecting all of us. So the banks should wake
not
up.
all the banks.
They should wake up.
One or two banks.
And start making it more... They should start to reduce the terms of their employment and allow people to... You know those strict...
What's it
income basis.
You that you go to another person's country, you have a Nigerian accent. They always complain about you, but so in India comes to your country, you're not complaining.
But it's affecting them now. When we go there, we can easily get productive.
Who told you can?
This thing is affecting banks. We see that BC is saying it has been happening. For the past few years, they can't get their tech department together.
Nigerian banks, so.
Two of my younger brothers are tech guys. They just resigned overnight.
I've never seen any Indian
I was see, in
Nigerian banks.
fact, they just
I'm not
resigned
looking for
overnight.
them, so maybe because I'm not looking for
You
them,
won't even pay attention.
You will not see
You
them.
won't know, yeah.
But me, I know that this one about removing money from accounts.
It's been happening, Abi.
Let us move on a bit.
They should do something about
No,
it.
we need to find a way to bash Nigerian
Don't
bank.
mind that.
We'll be right back.
Mariah is shutting us up.
True now. We'll be right back. Please go on a break.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, we're going to start with the nation. Minister, states to blame for rising poverty and hardship. Oshomole, PDP, a house divided against itself. Wike takes on governor over derivation payments. Lagos doctor remanded over rape. Mother beheads daughter. Osho Assembly dares Adeleke. INEC, PVC mandatory for voting in 2023 general elections, obviously. Schools to adopt mother tongue as medium of instruction. Tinubu for Chatham House talks on security and economy. Let me start with Governor Wike, my favorite governor after Governor Sanwo-Olu. So, he was replying, he was saying yesterday concerning the, remember he was saying, I think a few weeks ago, he was talking about that. He was thanking President Buhari for releasing the 13% derivation to the riverine states, the Niger Delta states. Like they've given, he has released it since 1999, since all the ones the government has owed them since 1999, he paid it all up. And he was able to use that money to do renal center, cardiovascular center, so many things he built with that. So, of course, one of his other counterparts from, I think, Bayelsa State was saying that the cost of doing 3 kilometers in Bayelsa is like 50, you can do 15 flyovers. So they shouldn't compare what somebody is doing in their own state to what he's doing in his own state. The governor can now reply, is it my fault that you cannot use your money? Yeah, explain that. Me, I did my own. I built flyovers. I built us in the same riverine area. How is your own special from? He didn't mention the name of the governor, but some governor was saying that it's not the same riverine area. What's different in your own riverine area? Me, I built my own. Is it my fault that you're not able to build? I just love governor.
So between the two of them, the Minister for States for Budget and Planning, Clement Agba, has replied to all the governors. He says that they are responsible for the rising poverty in the land. He said that they've not been doing complementary projects to, to complement the social intervention initiatives of the federal government. That most of these governors are conveniently building flyovers to nowhere, rather than building rural roads to assist farmers. So he said the multidimensional level of poverty that we are experiencing across the country could have been ameliorated if we have commensurate development. So, for instance, a farmer in Sokoto, according to him, 70% of the poor people are not in the rural areas, are not in the urban areas. They're farmers, they're low-income earners, but nothing has been done in those areas. Governors in most states are majorly doing projects that you call legacy projects, things that you can see what we did for you in 8 years, rather than see what can really change the people's lives. I sort of agree with Clement Agba, because Sanusi and Ganduje had this back and forth on where development needed to be in the areas where people would easily change their lives. But it was happening in the major cities, and the governor would say, I've done my work, you can see my work. But the real people are still in the poverty level where you met them as governor. You've not really changed their lives.
He says that 70% of the people live in rural areas, 90% of what we eat comes from them, and only 60% of what they produce is what we get in the market. So, but Edo answered him. Edo and Akwa Ibom answered him. Maybe it's, the state you are talking about. It's not
from
our
Edo
state.
Okay, let's move on to another state.
So, police in Cross River State yesterday confirmed that a woman had been taken into custody after killing her young daughter. Blessing Enoch is the woman in question, 25 years old, and it was said that she beheaded the child. The daughter was about 10 years of age. So it was another of her child that saw her washing away the machete, blood-stained machete, and, raised an alarm, and then the police has taken her into custody. They are saying they will be charged to court. They have not explained to us.
She's at the time of old.
Yes, and the daughter is 10. Yes, you can imagine how that. Yes. Then another quick story. The police yesterday arraigned in Oshu State's monarch, Elegboro of Ijebu-Jesha, Oba Olufemi, 65, with 9 others before a magistrate court in Ijebu-Jesha over alleged arson and destruction of a shrine. So they said they went into this particular shrine and destroyed it. And since January 2017, they are also set fire on different buildings and a proposed University of Agriculture that was supposed to be built in Ijebu-Jesha. They also destroyed about 2 tractors, 1 Caterpillar truck loader valued over 3 billion. These are some of the things that they have committed, and so they've been charged to court, and the matter has been adjourned to February 6th.
Okay, let's move on quickly now to Punch. Fuel scarcity, no planned price hike, says federal government. Queues spread. Adeleke alleges Osun government vehicles missing, issues ultimatum. Undo hunter mistakes man for antelope, shot him dead. Aisha Buhari Twitter critic remanded in prison. INEC gears up for election in Northeast, deploys beavers. Government pays ASU November salary, withholds arrears. Downs back FG policy on mother tongue teaching. And FG blames governors for rising poverty. Edo, Akwa Ibom differ. Okay, which story are we starting with?
I'd like the Aisha story, or which one do you want to take? Aisha or Aisha Buhari story, or...
Go ahead.
Okay, the 500 level student has been remanded in prison. He was arraigned in court on Tuesday, and the name of the guy is Aminu Adamu, and they said that he intentionally opened sometime between May and June. He intentionally opened a Twitter handle and named Aminu Alahi Catalyst, and screenshots an image of the president's wife and wrote in Hausa language, which I can't read the Hausa, but it translated says, "Mama has embezzled monies meant for the poor to satisfaction," and posted the same on his Twitter handle. So he's been committed under the section 391, he's been charged, sorry, 391 of the Penal Code. This was carried with by radio, TV broadcasting station in Hausa yesterday. The lawyer says that he wasn't given access to him, that for 5 days, since November 25th, he had been trying to get him. They said the court would come on Wednesday, but they took him on Tuesday, and he's asked for bail because his ward is about to write exams. Sorry, his client is about to write exams, and they
haven't responded.
They haven't responded to that. He's now in.
So they're waiting for the court, actually. The court says that they're going to review the presentation of the police of the charges of how they're going to release his bill or something like that. So
whoever is in charge of the press and media for the First Lady should do something. You know, this story has been trending since over the weekend about how she, on her instruction, she sat over his abduction and torture, and then his family tried to reach out to her. His uncle had, talked to the press. Punch carried that story. And on Twitter, everybody's calling her name. So her press and media should give her side of the story so that we can know whether there's balance.
So it's important we balance it out because
if she doesn't balance
strong allegations.
Because there are strong allegations against her, one. And two, she's being very quiet
about it. So you can interpret anyway. You can interpret like I don't send you people.
Yeah,
and you can also...
they accuse her husband of the same. So people are saying this is iron fist in a democratic regime. It's not fair.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Moving on now to Punch.
Yes, they have a story.
Oh, we're still in Punch, actually. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so the Ondo State Police Command had arrested a hunter, Sunday Olubushade, for allegedly shooting a yet-to-be-identified man to death in the bush at Oni Kerosene Community, Ondo East local government area of the state. So according to the story, Olubushade said he was hunting in the bush when he saw an antelope, and then he shot the antelope. All of a sudden, the antelope turned to a human being. Oh. And he quickly reported the matter to the police because he didn't understand what happened. So he's been taken into custody. He reported himself now because he saw an antelope, shot an antelope, and then an antelope became a human being. Yeah, so he took the matter to the police because he didn't understand what was going on.
Which I think was very honorable.
Very honorable of him. And so they should find out. I don't know how they're going to investigate spiritual things, but this is so... No, now.
You can be mistaken.
You would think a human being is an antelope.
No. Maybe he has eye problem. You don't know.
They should check. This is a mistake. It's just painful.
The federal government has issued a new national language policy for all primary schools. So according to the Minister for Education, Adamu Adamu, henceforth going forward, all primary schools will be teaching in the mother tongue of their pupils going forward till they get to primary 6. And by the time they get to GS1 to 3, they start to mix the languages with English. And he himself, very laudable initiative, but he admitted himself that this implementing the new policy is not more.
It's not easy. Even in Lagos, finding Yoruba teachers today is extremely difficult, even in their schools. So yes, they teach Yoruba, but it's difficult to find enough Yoruba teachers across all the schools.
It's not only that. What of the books? Which book would they use?
But they
said books. So it's teaching is
yes, but in fairness to him, he said this is going to take
maths,
a while.
they will be in science, they will be in everything. Not just
it's going to take a while. They are going to be working on it, you know, and I really applaud this. If they will be diligent enough to work on it, because we hear this announcement and everybody goes back to status quo.
Yeah, and it's not just Yoruba. Do you know how many languages around Nigeria?
No, it's achievable.
Very
it's achievable.
It needs a lot of discussion, brainstorming.
Brainstorming. They need a lot of experts in education so that the textbooks are not just reading and writing on the board.
I said, governance is not about great ideas.
Yeah.
Anybody can come and campaign great ideas. Implementing a whole different
game.
Exactly. Giving me ideas are great, but the ideas don't trip me. Exactly. This is a fantastic idea. But who's going to implement it? It's a whole different ballgame.
Because we are talking of books, books in all these languages.
Training of teachers.
We have professionals that will do it. We they employ them to do this job.
Children that their parents don't speak English.
It's not a market, guys. Let's move on.
Our children will learn the languages, which is a good thing.
Let's move on, please.
How far?
Daily Sun, Daily Sun. Governors have no power to stop rallies of opponents, says IG. Governors neglecting fight against poverty, but preferring to build flyovers, airports instead. Ohaneze insists on Peter Obi flays insecurity on Southeast. NNPC blames fuel scarcity on bad roads repairs in Lagos. Oil marketers disagree. Abdulrazak Bello Bagudu Ikpeazu presents 187.4 billion and other budget proposals to their House. INEC counts losses from incessant attacks, gives way out. And Owerri leaders back Uzodinma for second term. Okay, which story are we taking in Daily Sun?
So let me take the ASU story quickly. So members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities are saying that they may embark on no pay, no work if the federal government continues to insist on not paying them by withholding their 8-month salary. This was said by the national president, Professor Emmanuel Osedeke. And he said that this is very unfair because the federal government, first of all, took them to court, and they had not gotten the verdict of the court before the court ordered them to go back to the classrooms while they deliberate on the issues. While they're still deliberating on the issues, the federal government went ahead to pay the half salaries that they did in October. And so they did not even pay attention to how the process is supposed to go with the court. So they are not the ones that took the federal government to court. So it was the federal government that took ASU to court. And yet they are the ones paying them half salary without waiting for verdict. That's one. Secondly, they said some of them have received their November salaries and it was paid in full. Some aspects of the ASU were saying that they have received their salary that it didn't seem like it was paid in full because they compared it to what they received in February and it's totally different. However, they are all going to be having their NEC meeting very soon and then they will decide what will happen if they will go back to strike or, insist on no pay, no work for the students.
Well, NNPC have come to give us one, I don't understand it. The NNPC Executive Vice President downstream, Mr. Adeyemi Tunju, while addressing press, said that, the road constructions around Lagos are the reason for the recent queues in Lagos. He said that there are road infrastructure projects going on around Apapa and access roads, which causes the challenges that we are experiencing right now, which is the cause of the scarcity, according to him. But I like that IPMAN, as national president of IPMAN, Debo Ahmed, quickly said no, it's the inability of the NNPC to import commensurate products to meet the country's present needs. That is the cause of it. And that as it is now, all the ex-depot price has left the regulated price of 148, and they are now selling at 207 per litre to 217 naira per litre, respectively. And also, it's saddening that, the head of the NNPC does not understand what Apapa is and what Ijego is. As we speak now, you will find trucks lined up all the way to Kirikiri. They are experiencing the Oshodi. But the roads in a Mara road is being constructed right now. And the depot in Ijegu is causing so much hardship. I can't believe this morning from my house, I have not reached Alakija by 7 a.m. And it's been like that for over a month, trying to meet this need. And you come and say the roads are being constructed, and that's the excuse.
Okay, let's
he says that they have enough fuel. They have clinical billion.
They don't have.
IPMAN
have said they don't have. They don't have.
I'm telling you what
the papers.
Based on what we are experiencing.
We are reporting the papers now. That's what our job is. Just tell what the paper said. So,
2 billion liters.
Let me take another story. what the governors, the Inspector General of Police was represented by his deputy, Inspector General, Dan Dwara Mustafa. He was saying that they've been receiving lots of complaints from the political parties, and it's quite unfortunate that many commissioners of police within the state are not supporting other parties to do their rallies properly. And he has instructed all the commissioners of police across the state to give equal support and security to various parties that want to do rallies across the state. He said that it's quite disturbing and unfortunate that they must change. He said all the political parties are complaining. It's not only for APC or PDP or Labour Party or ABGA. Unfortunately, also we are thinking of these 4 major guys. But the other parties to say nobody's allowing us to do rallies. So please, the Inspector General of Police has instructed directly that all Commissioner of Police to ensure that there's equality amongst all parties. We have about 18 various parties running for, I would say 18 or 19 presidential candidates. 18. So we should give them equal opportunities. Let's move on quickly now to Vanguard. Adeleke Oyetola quarrel and fresh over handover procedure. Hold governors responsible for high poverty levels, says Minister. FEC approves compulsory mother tongue in instruction in primary schools. Court remands Aisha Buhari's critic in Suleja prisons. Plateau CSOs raise alarm over alleged 84,000 underage registered voters. 2023, I'm seeking re-election based on performance, says Sanwo-Olu. Drama as celebrity kidnapper John Leon, other plead not guilty. Despite attacks, will recover, says INEC chairman. And we may start no pay, no work, ASU president says. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Okay, John Leon yesterday was arraigned and he pleaded not guilty. But while they were trying to get him back to prison, because the court had ordered that he be remanded in prison, but the police wanted to get him back to police custody till the order was, effective. And he started shouting that his health is being affected. He's running. He started resisting, but they were able to force him into the police van eventually. He said, drama. This case we've not seen the end of this case. Certainly we have not.
Okay, any other stories? So, yeah, go ahead, Waki.
The Adeleke handover, Adeleke and Oyetola, apparently they were supposed to hand over to the Adeleke regime, but administration, sorry, and but according to the Adeleke administration, that they didn't hand over. But Oyetola is saying, no, we called them. We called them to hand over. We called them on the 23rd, that we wrote a letter that they should come on the 27th to come, but nobody came. They sent us a message that we should hand over to the PAMSEC. Then the Adeleke guy now comes, hey, that's not how. That we have written to them since 2 months ago. We told them that we want to hand over. They didn't answer us. Who does that? They now answered us just a few days to their
inauguration.
Due to their leaving office.
Okay.
That come and collect. We said, no, we can't come and collect. At 2 p.m., you come and so we have to check all the records, check everything. No, that give it to the PAM section. This is a handover letter. Give it to the PAM section. That is what happened. So I just said...
And they just
interesting.
We have to move on. But Governor Sanwo-Olu has officially flagged off his campaign for the re-election. It's called A Greater Lagos Arising. Imagine said they had a team about 4 a.m. They had this laser branded across the state. About, I think it was at Third Mainland Bridge, across riverine areas. They had mascots, campaign mascots, all cladded with all the various branded and saying to flag off the official launching. And the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Mr. Gbenga Motor, said Governor Sanwo-Olu is running on records for a greater infrastructure for development of Lagos State. And it's urging residents to be ready because they're going to get more reward for the hard work. So I'm happy that they flagged up, and we hope that they all have a smooth campaign throughout the elections. All right, let us go on a break. When we come back, we start with our guests from iCreate Club, and then we move on to our guests. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So today's segment, we like to talk about marriage, love, relationships. We'll be speaking with our guests on what it is to have successful marriages and how productive can it be. Anytime we talk about marriage on this show, we are women saying from our perspective. Whenever we have a man like this, we hold you like this. Yes, we have a male perspective on this matter. So we'll be discussing marriage because he's a professor of communication at the Penn Atlantic University who studied family therapy at the North Central University, Scottsdale, Arizona, and practices marriage and family therapy in Lagos. Welcome with us, Professor Enviwo Biakolo. Welcome to the show, sir.
My pleasure.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
On the show. Now, see, we're going to take it in layers gradually. If we let us start from the first few years of marriage, when the hurdles come and the...
Should we start from the foundation?
Foundation. Let's start before they enter the marriage first. Okay, let's start from that. Before we enter the marriage, things are changing. These days, back then, you look for a good man. Once he has a good family, good background, you give him a chance, you have a conversation, and then something can start. But today, nobody wants that foundation. They want somebody who's successful. You have a job, you have a house. Basics. You can't be talking to me if not to have a job. Are you okay? So, is it that things have changed? Are the principles to start dating changed? Or what should we be looking for in settling down with a partner? Because even men now are not looking for liabilities. They'll tell you, you must have this, you must have that. They tell them before in the past, big man, if you just be a young girl, come the way you are, and you get married. But now the men too are expectant that you have something in the bank. What has changed? And do you think the foundation of marriage has also changed?
I'm not persuaded that there's been any real change.
Okay.
I don't think there's been any fundamental change. It's simply that in the past, some of these negotiations, the pre-marriage negotiations, were actually conducted by, say, parents and relatives. At the moment, what has actually changed is that the individuals themselves, say a woman, is involved in the negotiation, in making these choices, so that the whole trajectory, the way and manner that the choices are made, have actually just simply changed. But now that the actual demands have changed. Because in the past, if your parents or your relatives wanted to give you away in marriage, they would be thinking, oh, is he going to be able to take care of my daughter? Does he have the resources? Does he? So all of those kinds of
negotiations. It's the same terms of engagement, but it's done by different parties.
Absolutely.
Now it is the parties involved
that
are
doing the themselves who are making the decisions, yeah.
Interesting.
So, back in the day, we always have people being matchmaked. Parents would, go to see a family, see a budding flower, like they used to call it, then approach the parents. And, the individuals involved are not even supposed to have any form of relationship before they finally get married. And it seemed like the marriage at the time worked, because the first few years is just that time where you're getting to know your partner, somebody you never knew before, you're becoming friends, and you go through the challenges. But now, we actually pick our spouses ourselves, and we are supposed to know them better. It's almost like the reverse. It's different from when our parents paired us up. What do you think is responsible for that difference, and the fact that the marriages are no longer lasting?
Well, I would say a lot of cultural and social factors, because you see, the culture really determines to a great extent how we respond to, in the marriage context, how we respond to our partners. For instance, in the past, marriage was supposed to be a lifelong project. I mean, you're all supposed to be together, whatever the difficulties. But, the cultural dynamic has changed in such a way that people no longer think of marriage in that way. So the longevity of marriage, the fact that the marriage will last long or will not last long, actually depends a lot on what the culture and the society actually want, the expectations and the way that these expectations are met or not met. That's really what is happening. Because in the past, the cultural expectations are that you will be together. In some cases, of course, there were also divorce issues and separation issues, but they were less because the cultural and social expectations are such that people will stay together and work out their differences. Right. But right now, with the cultural and social changes, people are no longer, able to exercise those kinds of examples of patience, because really, culturally, socially, it's more acceptable to divorce or to separate.
Nima.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about after marriages have been contracted, when the entire thing is settled. How to, because if you compare those days, I have seen the language of marriage be one of, there's a head daddy, and there's a mommy who's second in command. Sort of that, you know, when the bringing of ideas happen, it has to be by instruction. So the head will say, okay, I am the head of this family. I'm the one to drive. And so that if the other person is a bit subtle, you seem to be querying the other party. So how does communication in marriage work between
those circumstances?
How should it work?
Well, I would say, again, I'm going to make a lot of reference to cultural elements, because you see, in the past, the whole idea of feminism, women's liberation, the place of woman as an equal partner within the marriage context, within society, and in fact in the larger, you know, if you like, social setting or political setting, that idea did not really come to the party. Let's put it that way. Right now, things have changed tremendously. So you can see that your entire premise of relationship between couples and between male and females in society is equality. Right. That kind of patriarchal, hierarchical system of marriage that you referred to in the past, you know, a man could, you know, he's the breadwinner, he dictates what happens. Really, that has changed. And the liberation, I put liberation in quotes, because really it's simply a growth in consciousness. That's how I call it. I don't necessarily think of it as a liberation, just a growth in consciousness of the awareness of the quality of these two types of human beings, because there are really fundamentally only two types of human beings, male and female. Right. And so the change in the entire cultural setup, the change in the way we think about the relationship between these two types of human beings, that's really what has changed. And communication in the past was possible, but was a different kind of communication. Right. You see, because once you have a hierarchical kind of communication, what is happening is the big boss makes the decisions, you know, he gives the orders, and then, you know, the second in command implements them along with the children, and so on and so forth. But if that dynamic has changed, then of course the communication dynamic would automatically change.
Okay, why can we go?
Do you think that our reasons for getting married these days is what is leading to a lot of divorces? Because I know that there are two reasons for people getting married. One, love. I love him. He makes my body do giz, giz, giz. One. Two, he's financially okay, he can look after me. And then maybe he becomes broke. So do you think that's what is...
I would say that there were always so many different reasons for people getting married. I mean, the most important one you may be forgetting is children. And that was always very important in the past. You see, because we thought about life as a matter of continuity on earth. So if you are not going to be there, you have children, the children will continue, you know, your lineage, your line. And so that was always very important. And I think that that's still very important to us. You see, but as I said earlier, the dynamic of, okay, what is the management of the material resources? How are we going to manage these material resources? Okay, the man earns, he brings the most of the income. But don't forget that in many traditional societies, it was not just simply the man. There was simply a division of labor. Women also worked. They worked at different... I give you the example of roboculture. The men found what they call the cash crop. Okay, in my area, for instance, it was typically the palm tree. Okay, that was the center of it, and so palm nuts and palm oil. This was really the male kind of activity. But the women found, for instance, cassava, which was the mainstay and the main crop for, you know, daily consumption. And so it was really strictly about division of labor. So you have a situation where it's the many different reasons why people married, they all came together in how do you manage resources? How do you manage the procreation and generation for the next line? How do you manage some of the social relation aspects? So there were so many different reasons why people married then, and there's still very many different reasons why people marry now. It's simply that the way that the two parties manage this whole process of why are we together? What are we doing here together as you know?
Okay, I'm going to go
couple.
on a break, Professor. I know you're a professor, so it's like a lecture in your class, which I get that. It's nice. It's important that the viewers understand you. So we're going to break down this conversation a bit more when we come back after the break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we still have Professor here with us, and we're talking about marriage. And anytime we have this conversation on marriage, we always kind of say things from the female perspective. And it's important for us to have a male perspective. You think, whatever happened to falling in love? You know, like, there's a time we just meet a guy, you know, you're head over heels.
Impossible.
And does that still matter today?
Is it fiction from our movies?
I think it's inevitable for people to fall in love.
Okay.
And I think as long as they're human beings on earth, people will fall in love.
Can love sustain marriages? You know,
good question.
Some people will be like, you know, we don't have chemistry, so I can't marry him. If they put chemistry, can it sustain the marriage, or do you need biology, physics, and the reality that comes with it? Mathematics.
Yeah.
What exactly sustains them?
I think that's just because the nature of human beings. Love alone will not keep a marriage up. You can't live on love alone. You have to live on food. You live on sex. You live on a variety of things. Live on communication. So marriage is so many different things. And so it's, I think it's unrealistic to expect that, you know, people will just survive only by love. Love is foundational, I agree, at least some elementary attraction between people.
Are you married?
Oh, yeah, this is my second marriage.
Second marriage?
What happened to the first one?
Baba, talk to us now. How did the first one end?
She died.
Oh, so sorry about that.
Sorry.
I thought I was in for scandal.
Yes. We lived together for 39 years before she died. So,
So you're remarried now?
I remarried.
How did you, I mean, I hate to get into your private matters, but see, we need a bit of advice on love. You see, because there are lots of 40-some-year-olds, 30-some years old feeling like, you know what, I don't want to marry a widower. I don't think maybe they are widows, or they don't know if they can find love again, or when they marry somebody who is also somebody who's coming from a different relationship, they don't want to make the same mistakes they made in the past marriage. So how do we start remarriage? And maybe you can help us in remarrying. What are those things we should look for in remarrying?
You know, the interesting thing is each marriage is unique. You can never replicate it. First, because the personalities involved are different. And secondly, the dynamic of the relationship between the two is always different. So there's no way on earth you can replicate marriage. There are never two types of marriage in the world. They are just a unique system. So between the two, always unique.
Right.
Okay, so I would like to ask you why you decided to remarry.
Okay.
That's one. Then secondly, do you think men and women are equal in marriage?
Okay, let me address the second one first, because I think that I can more easily respond to. Yes, fundamentally, men and women are equal. There isn't any way to think about this, because if you take it from the religious point of view, he who made them male and female, and there's no distinction. Oh, yeah, okay, so this one was made first or second. That kind of thing doesn't really work. So fundamentally, at every important level, men and women are equal.
Equal in what aspects? You know why I'm asking this question? Because we hear that in marriage there must be a pilot and a co-pilot. Somebody must be the one who you look up to for the final decision. Somebody must be the captain of the ship, and then the other people, you know, follow. So if you say they are equal, can two captains be in a ship?
Okay, but according to your characterization, there's a captain and then the co-captain.
Yeah, co-captain.
Pilot and the co-pilot, which means that there's always one who would take the first shot, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but I think that if you think of the marital system, because I always call it a system, not just because that's the therapeutic language, but largely because, you see, the relationship between two people is always full of that kind of dynamic. I keep using that word, but it's an important word because there's energy there and there's direction. Look at it this way. If you are in a system of two, let us say you're just friends, any kind of dyadic system, any kind of couple system, I don't mean marriage now, just two friends. Always there will be one who will say, okay, let's take this direction, and has a stronger voice, okay? Any kind of two-some relationship, you always find that kind of somebody who takes the first step and another one who is likely to follow. Conflict really comes when, you know, they both want to take, steps at the same time. So it's always about, in this particular matter, who takes the first step. In the other matter, who takes the first step?
Oh.
So that's really, in my view, what makes for a more harmonious way of managing a twosome.
Not that the man must be the one to take the first
It's not even possible for that to happen, because in some things, the other partner would have to take the first step, and you follow.
Okay, why did
So
you
it doesn't
remarry,
matter
sir?
who takes the step.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it doesn't. It may well be that in some, for instance, if you're thinking about childbirth and you know, pregnancy, and it's inevitable that a woman will take the first step in this regard, because she's the one who's going to bear the brunt of you know, whatever happens in there. So
The
It's
second
always the
question.
woman that takes the first. I thought it was the man that takes the first step. Is the one that initiates
the seed.
the.
yeah, I'm not necessarily talking about the sexual event. I'm
Decision making.
Sexual event, right?
He's talking about decision making. Sir, I would like to follow up on Mo's question
He
earlier.
did answer the last one. Why
Oh,
he
let you
remarried?
answer that.
Okay.
Okay.
I want
Well, at a personal level, managing grief was very difficult for me. Yes, and then I found somebody who understood
Helped
that
you.
I was in a grieving state and I was coming out of grief and I needed to, you know, the zest for life hasn't died yet. So
But we crucify women when they cannot manage grief and they choose to remarry. Society crucifies them for thinking of remarrying when they lose their husband.
if I were to dare to pronounce a judgment on that kind of social assessment, I think it is wrong.
That social assessment is wrong.
Yes, because, I mean, you know what to say. I'm a Christian, so I can tell you the Christian view of it.
Okay.
You know,
Which is?
it is till death do you part. And once death comes and the people are free. to remarry.
Even the women.
Even the women are free. Yes, there isn't any question about
So
that.
how long has this second marriage been?
A year now.
Oh, you still
Or let us
really
say a
love
year and
them.
a half.
A younger woman or the same
Younger
age?
woman.
Younger woman. Oh, you like them,
Doing
yeah?
your body
White kid. Let us straight. Let's strip it. You know, if you live with this woman.
Today is
you know-
Thursday now.
Okay. Nima, you're going to do something. Let me come to you.
No, I was going to
Before
ask
I
exactly
slap
what
at the
BC
table.
asked, but I wanted it to be from your experience as a professor, whether you see, you know, the society and the societal judgment around widows and how, you know, they have to, what they have to compromise sometimes, give up entirely on another companionship relationship and focus on their children, and how exactly sustainable is it for them when it comes to their health and, you know, maybe managing
Grief.
when the kids are all grown.
People are different, you know. Some people have a greater need for companionship, for a partner than others. You see, so if this need arises, and this need can arise not only, for instance, in terms of emotion or in terms of sexual desire, but it can arise, for instance, when it's to certain assistance or help in managing children or in managing careers, or, you know, because the marriage dynamic is full of so many different aspects. It's a massive institution. There's a whole management element to marriage. So some people are better able to manage alone by themselves. Others are not able to do that. It is not, I think, the right way to judge people. To say, yes, no, why don't you fall into the mold? You know, you're a widow and therefore you must remain. I don't believe that.
But sometimes even the widows set up, they insist that, you know, the kids must grow up first. In your case as a widower, did you wait for long? And, you know, what's most advisable, the period?
Well, mine, of course, since I married very early, when my kids were all adults, you know.
Ah,
so,
they're grown.
Yes, they're all adults, and therefore, you
We're
know,
going to
it's a
wrap up
different kind.
very soon because I know you're going to touch on your book in a minute. But when you say you're a Christian, it just reminded me of a question that's been in my mind for a long time: polygamy and Christianity. Because I have an uncle who's a polygamist, and he seemed to be the one to be healthiest of all my family members.
Is he a Christian?
Happy? No, he's a Muslim. He's polygamist, and he's probably the healthiest. Happy, content. I mean, the guy is just flying. Every other person is just
Flexing.
flexing. And I'm thinking, is this something? Do you think we should start considering, especially those of us that are married and have monogamous relationships? And because it seems as though polygamy was accepted in the old days, and people are now beginning to think, shouldn't we reconsider? I mean, is it cast in stone that a Christian must marry one man, one wife? I know the answer biblically, but people are just thinking that realistically now, in today's times, is it possible? Do you think we should still stick to that monogamous relationship?
I think it's not possible to have your cake and eat it.
Okay.
See, if women are interested in maintaining their agency, their independence, their autonomy in decision-making, and being equal partners with the man, this is not quite compatible with accepting, to be a second wife or a third wife and so on and so forth. Because if you take it from that elementary biblical injunction, he made them male and female. So that equality of male and female is a presumption we must work with. We have to assume that they will be equal. But if you have a kind of polygamous situation, obviously, you cannot but take a subordinate position there. And you see, and I don't think that works for the presumption of equality at all. So you really have to rethink it, if you...
But her uncle, she says, is the...
Okay, let's move on.
Happiest
his life.
of all her uncles. She says is that the happiest of all her uncles. And I don't know about the wives.
It's collective of different
I'm glad you added that. You don't know about the wives.
I don't know about the wives.
Actually.
Let's touch on your books, because I have to let you go in a minute. But these books are on marriage, right?
Yeah.
It says, I can't say the name.
Okay, so the first one is The Meaning of Marriage. It's about 10 years plus now.
Wow.
That was about 2010 that I wrote this, or rather published this. The second one, which has just come out, Witness Conversations.
That's about love and commitment in couple. Okay. Are
Yeah.
you a love person? Do you like romance?
Can I see?
It's impossible not to be a love person. Every human being is a love person.
Not every human being.
An old man like you being
I disagree with you, sir. Not every human being.
An old man like you.
I'm married, don't forget. I have to be in love
How
with
do you
my
know
wife.
his age? Do you know his age?
Why, the point is that when you see a man, okay, let me say a grown man.
Yeah.
What do you know about romance?
A grown man is from 18 years, don't forget.
Oh, because I was arguing with YK yesterday that once you are 70, you have no business doing the business.
Wow, I didn't know that age had anything to do with it.
Oh,
Thank you. Oh, let me tell you.
Because YK...
Because she's going to be 70 one day.
She's 62 and she's still doing the do, and I'm thinking...
Well,
She has no proof that I'm doing anything.
But she doesn't look...
I've never told her that I'm doing anything.
By the
We
way,
know.
You don't look 62. You look so
Thank
much
you very
younger.
much.
What you tell us in private, we know.
We know.
I've not told you anything.
What don't you know?
Anyway,
This is
it was
the
a
meaning
pleasure.
of marriage. You
Sorry,
are supposed to be asking.
Right,
Good
right.
meaning of marriage. You people that are inside
We're not
marriage.
doing publicity for book here. We're just telling everybody has a book. Please, we're just doing that.
You are
But
supposed to.
thank you so much, sir.
Yes,
It was a
thank
pleasure having you, because it was good for us to have maybe an academic perspective to this conversation, because sometimes we just talk about these things loosely, but it's good to understand that there are agencies, there are institutions, there are expectations, there are reasoning behind the way we do things, and it's good to hear your thoughts on this. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, please.
It was a pleasure. We'll definitely talk about your book. We'll post it and put it on social media so that people can, and we wish you the best with your new wife.
Thank you.
Are you going to have more children?
Like, that's
We
a
have
private conversation.
You have one?
Yes.
Oh, this professor is a lover boy.
Professor, I don't trust
Professor,
you
please,
again.
how old are you? Hey, this professor is
A lover boy.
lover man.
Please, I don't mind them.
Thank you. All right.
Tell us your age now before we
Don't
start.
mind them.
You know, you are
Please, don't mind them.
It's not so,
a lot of.
You are entitled to your
it's not
privacy.
so secret. It's all over in my, internet in my books.
Yeah, so you can tell us now for our viewers.
Well, let us say that I'm in
Old
the
enough.
seniority graph.
Hey, he's your age.
That's 70 plus.
Okay, your age.
No,
mate.
not at all.
Benny.
Seniority starts at 65.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we bring in other. Just stay with us. We'll be right back. YK.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing family relationships and issues on Thursday. And today, and right now, the next segment, we're going to be discussing the topic about the fact that many couples, some couples actually, get married simply because one of the partner, the woman got pregnant. And it was based on somebody's message on social media, which caught our attention, that stop marrying simply because you impregnated a woman. When we're growing up, once you impregnate a girl, you have no choice. You have to get married. I have a friend, a very close friend of mine, who that was the reason why he got married. And it was a serious friction between between him and his wife for many years. It took them lots of years to eventually go past that hurdle and then fall in love truly with each other. But what are your thoughts on this societal stigma that forces a couple to get married simply because there's a baby involved? Do you think it's the right choice in the interest of the child, or do you think it's not necessary to get married if both of you feel you're not compatible? That's our conversation right now. You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-7694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweet. I'd like to start with BC because this kind of area is something that you're very passionate about. The things we do is because of the interest of the child. We think of the future. We don't want a child to come to be raised out of wedlock. We don't want the child to be raised without two parents. So family, friends, and make a decision. No, we are pregnant.
He has to marry you.
He has to marry you.
Yeah.
Do you think that still holds water today?
Even back in the day, it didn't hold water. But women just found a way to manage whatever they saw in that relationship. There's always this need for the average woman to want to have a child within the confines of marriage, and that is very valid. That's what we preach, that's what we hope for, that's what we aspire for. But there's something I always say: the person that you are banishing, if you get pregnant, will you be able to marry that person? Is it the kind of person that you don't mind spending the rest of your life with? I think that's one of the questions that we need to start asking ourselves. So I'm getting into this sexual relationship with this guy. Do I like him enough to be the father of my child? That's one. Does he want me enough to want to spend his life with me? That's the second aspect that we must know before before the sexual event happens. Sorry, my sister. We must begin to have these tough conversations. Or even if you're not so open to those conversations, you must look at the signs around, because you can have somebody who likes you for the kind of vibe you give to him, but he doesn't want to settle with you. He has his idea of a wife that he wants. He has an ideal, would I say, ideal idea of how his wife should be. But because he has not met that wife, or he has not seen the wife, or the wife has not given him...
Let me pause. I don't want us to talk like that. You know why? Because this new life that we are living now is different from what you're saying.
No, it's not different. Now, this life we did now. I'm just helping our sisters there. Not to get into this trap. I'm not talking about the trap.
I can land my point.
Okay.
There are girls today. That one you're saying makes sense. A lot of young girls today go to a club, have fun, meet a guy, is hot, is nice, bada bing, bada bang, happened.
Without protection.
They didn't process this thing. I say, baby, do it.
Without protection.
They do a lot of careless mistakes.
Beautiful. Then this happens and you come back and you start crying. So I'm just trying to help those people who are still using their head.
Okay.
That if you have to do all the fun, please consider some of this, because anything can happen. Belle can come aside. And when Belle come aside, would you now want to get married to the person who you know on a normal day will not take care of you because Belle has come aside? So protect yourself. Now, when that pregnancy comes and they are now trying to tell you, okay, you have to get, you don't get Belle, you have to be married on that, you have to be... Ask yourself, can I be in this relationship? Is it okay for me to walk away and raise my child? You don't necessarily have to force yourself into a marriage that you know will not work because you're pregnant. Because that child you're trying to protect, you will end up destroying that child. That's what I wanted to say.
The goal is marriage. That's what is the goal. There are 1,001 women whose goal is get married or die trying. So their goal is to target any responsible guy, whether he's engaged or not, get Belle for him. Do whatever you can. When you get Belle for him, disrupt his life. You show up in his mother's house who did not know you when you were his friend in the office. Show up in his father's life who never knew you existed. Come and tell them how irresponsible their son is, that you want to trap him, or you've succeeded in trapping him with pregnancies. Just because you are talking, I want to bring that angle. There's also the ones who make mistakes, and then there's the empowerment plan girls. The girls who, when the guy comes to them and says that, in my family, yes, we're well-to-do, but my parents just want me to be sure that, you are fertile. Their own is that it's an empowerment plan. Bros, try as much as you can. If they carry the miscarriage, they will go and try and carry it again. Those are the empowerment girls. So there are girls who consider marriage the achievement, who will do anything for it. And a lot of times, these guys are victims. You will find a guy who is on his path trying to get married to someone he's studying, has all the goals, all the dreams that you just highlighted as the ideal. And one out of nowhere girl ends up spending the rest of his 30 years with him before he can get out of that trap because she came with a pregnancy. And she will insist on staying in that marriage whether they are happy or not, sad or not.
So what are you saying, Nima? I want to be sure I understand.
No.
So in that kind of situation where she feels that you are responsible for this pregnancy, take responsibility.
No.
Are you saying that
she does not just
outside?
She does not just feel
wedlock.
That she gets pregnant outside wedlock, one, but she doesn't just feel that he must take the pregnancy whether it's his or not, because she might even be certain it's not his. The goal is to use the pregnancy to get him
married.
That's Nollywood now.
No, why you they talk like this?
I know they like this kind of
You haven't even heard
I know they even like this kind of
we
they bring and come. We were just assessing this
women.
Nollywood gone got nothing on
Nollywood
these
is
people.
reality now.
Yes.
Nollywood is. Don't you see how people watch Nollywood with rapt attention?
I'm telling you.
Okay.
Have you watched me with those people who can gist?
My husband is number one.
They know the idea.
The guys in my house.
Let me see. Bro, just pause it. Let's analyze.
You know that
That's another father in heaven. I can't watch it.
Can I just watch this movie?
I'm telling you, but that's the reality.
Have you seen where my girls in the house, they are watching, when they be narrating and breaking down the story, you just be looking at them. Oh, my goodness.
Okay, so let's bring it back home to this conversation. Why? Let me come to you, because, listen, as I said, people do things with certain intentions. And the intention of our parents there was the interest of the child. And BC has told us that either way, the child gets married and that could also be a damaged child, even in or out. Yes. But you see, sometimes it's the acceptability a woman gets, that you accept that this child belongs to me. I don't necessarily want to get married to you. But are we saying in this conversation now that all a woman wants is just accept the child? I don't need to marry you. Because is that better than insisting on marriage for the sake of the child? That's really...
You have a celebrity case. Who
is the celebrity case?
Answer now.
No, tell me the celebrity case.
Why case? No, when I was talking to you, I just said we have a celebrity case of a woman, a popular woman in this country who got pregnant for a man going through divorce, and it wasn't final at the time. She insisted. Till today, she remains a single parent to her daughter, even though the divorce later fell through. She just thought, the reasons for that divorce wasn't strong basis, and she's popular. Google it.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay, please.
A friend of the house.
What's your perspective on this matter?
My own is, I don't think any man should feel obliged. Because the point is, once it's two consenting adults, if a baby comes, I will look after my baby.
We can co-parent.
We can co-parent. I don't think any man feel obligated, and I don't think any woman should also feel obliged to marry if she doesn't love the guy enough. I think people can live separate lives. You see, the thing is, for me, I am one of those people that believe in, I must love the guy, I must want the guy, for him to be my husband. I'm one of those people, maybe fairy tale. I don't believe...
But what if he doesn't want you?
I don't think it's calculation. Well, how much does he earn a year? Because I can marry you and you don't...
Must he want you? Must he want you back?
Yes, we must want each other. It must be a mutual thing.
Yes.
So, I don't think pregnancy should make you feel obligated.
That's because you're coming from a good place.
I would like you to
you know what? Let me set this an example. I know of a story. I don't know. I can't confirm the story, but I know somebody gave me this gist. And it worked out for her. So she was in university, and she saw this rich guy. I want to mention, it's a real-life story. And herself and her sister planned it, how she will find a way to trap this person. In fact, they were just about it because the sister was even shocked that it worked. It was just like those careless, girlfriend thingy. They found a way, saw him in the club. They knew he goes there all the time. Did the seduction. They knew his very rich family. They knew he was married. All she wanted to do was just get pregnant. Eventually, she got pregnant for him. And she wanted that to be, she wanted to hook him up to get married. The man refused to marry her. But she was still somewhere there, collecting money and just being with the guy. Eventually, the man had reasons to divorce his first wife for a different reason. Something happened. The first wife like kia, auntie entered the house. And today, I'm
for a
speaking to
different
you.
reason. You have to link it.
Well, I don't know the story, but I just heard that that man eventually left the wife. I don't know what reason.
They say the end justifies
but this girl now has entered the marriage. She's with the guy, and now she's madam, and it's like she's doing well.
She has
had more kids. So the point is that to the end, looking like it's justified. This means at least I've entered. I did what I wanted to. And the guy is wealthy.
Hey, so but if she's not making his life miserable,
when somebody sees that story, she will now say, "I'm pregnant for you. You must take this pregnancy." She will insist on
this. This is what I wanted YK to expand.
First, do DNA now. Make sure it's your own.
Yes, you know, in those cases, I would love to see women say, okay, this accept that, you know, this was a mistake on the side. When the guy is saying, I know this happens, you want us to marry, can I just have a DNA? Just to be sure what I'm getting into. Don't come and start getting emotional and start saying, hey, are you questioning me? Auntie, they didn't marry you. The circumstances itself was questionable. I handled the property recovery where a woman decided to hold on to the properties of a man because he insists he's the father of a child and he's a married man. The man's wife said, okay, this is okay. Can you just ask her for a DNA so we know where we are going? So, you know, just so
sure.
she was on the part of let's co-parent, let's maintain. Because I counseled all parties, the man and his wife particularly, that she agreed that if it's my husband's child, we must parent that girl. We must provide for her needs and all of that. But the baby mama say, they cannot have the sample of a child. That to ask for the sample is to question, auntie, you slept with a married man. What are we going back and forth for? She made it life tough and she had backup from her side. Another lawyer telling her, insist on it. How does somebody start maintaining a child? Is it when the child is 20-something years before he will discover whether the child is truly his or not? You are the only one who has that answer. Release it. Women should start to have this largesse of art that if you can think trapping a man is okay, think of, giving him some answers. Also... Did
they do the DNA in the end?
She didn't agree.
But why do we always say it's trapping?
She never agreed.
The man that went to...
wait, it is okay.
Find extracurricular activities.
It's the two of them who have curricular activities. You see, if a man wanted to have curricular activity with me, it will not happen. So we cannot be having the conversation. If my husband wakes up tomorrow and says, I want to have a DNA of these children, I will gladly submit it. But I will not. When the results come, I will not be there. That's the honest truth.
That's a breach of trust on you.
Because I have fulfilled my side. He didn't just pick me on the side of the road. That's not how we met. I have honored him before I met him.
But to be a breach of trust, I wouldn't like that.
No, it's a breach of trust. Yeah. But if he needs the answers, he's going to get the answers. Just what happens after the answer might be another business entirely. Okay. Because then it's now between me and you. But say you want to show whether the children are born for you are your own, please go ahead, have a day. When you are sure, can you allow me my own peace of mind? Because I cannot be with somebody who doesn't trust me. So it's a different matter. Women should start to put it in perspective. This trapping thing is seriously a business. I met a young girl, I was talking to her. He was the one who said that if I don't get pregnant, that's what they do in the church. I said, okay, fine, in your own church. She got pregnant. 9 months into pregnancy, you don't have a plan, an empowerment, anything. You have a child, you're not insisting. He has left the house, so you people should come and see you. He didn't even leave food money. I said, auntie, did you come here? Was this an empowerment plan for you? You have a child. Will you get up and feed your child? You know, and she felt like I was being too harsh. I told her, I said, you didn't have proper mothering. Your mother should have mothered you properly. Because you don't bring a child into this life without a plan on your side, talk less of the side of your partner.
Nima, I'm so happy you went there because the world that we live in today, we are both working, husband and wife. Where are we always making the man
provide?
Be the provider.
Sole provider.
You know, a lot of women don't say, you are the one, you will pay the school fees, you will do this. Can't you help the man?
We can help when we want to help. So the thing is, the man should take his position as a sole provider. The man is the hero. And when you don't allow them to play hero, no, listen, no. Let me land
you want to kill hero.
No, he cannot die. I'm there to support him. When he cannot play hero, he'll be playing it somewhere. So play it with me. Don't go outside and play it. Because every man is an assumption, and I've seen it play out in so many relationships. So when you take over the hero stuff, he has nothing to do with you there, and he just plays where he has put him, and he goes outside to play hero for somebody else.
We don't have plenty of time.
Yeah,
I want us to bring
instinct.
I want us to bring
to be a hero.
I want you to come back to the original issue of a young girl meets a guy. There's not married men now.
Okay.
Two young people
fall in love. and then she gets pregnant. And he is not ready for marriage. Now, unfortunately, she has to carry this baby all to term and stop all what she's doing because of the baby.
Yeah.
Now, when she's now done, her family is forcing her to marry him. And be forcing him to pay. You must marry this child must not give birth to this child outside. But the boy feels like, listen,
I don't want to.
I have big dreams. I want to go out. I want to travel to the world. I want to do this. I'm not ready to stay. Should he sacrifice his dreams because he impregnated his high school, his university lover? Should he stop that dream and say, I can't, because of her? Or should they be forced to marry so that even though when he's going with his dream, he knows that I have a wife in Nigeria.
I disagree that you should force anybody to marry. So what I tell people is, we have protection for a reason. You are getting into a relationship.
It don't happen now.
No, hold on now. You are getting. I had friends in the university. Hold on.
Don't happen
I
now.
wait. I had friends in the university who were so scared of pregnancy that they will not even do anything. And if they had to do anything, they would do with protection. That's one. So don't blame anybody that she took in. You put it there.
Okay.
That's one. Now that it has happened, I would be a bit selfish here. If I didn't have any intentions of proceeding, I'm talking as a man, and maybe you are not my type, we found ourselves in that thing, I'm not going to be trapped by you. I will go for my life. Okay, you have the belle, you want to keep the belle, no problem. I would get my parents to see what they can do for you. If they have to pay bills, if they have to sponsor you, if they have to take care. No, listen now. You want me to live my dream and come and do it? No problem. But I will not marry you. That's the thing. You see that marriage you're looking for, you will not find it because I don't want to marry you. I don't want to be trapped because of a child. You know what will happen? I will begin to resent that child. We have seen children who are raised in that sort of situation where the man knows I don't love your mother.
When are you marrying him? Now you go sleep with him.
No, I can sleep with you. I don't want to marry you.
Okay. Let me get the counter opinion on this.
You see, you are talking, the resentment usually comes from the woman, and how does it come? When the man continues with his flying dream.
Before.
And the woman has to sacrifice because now she carry
nobody
nine
like
months
you.
load. This is the price.
Yeah.
If I am the mother of the man, now both people go lose their dream. If you want to dream well, oh, face your future and rain your something, your third leg. Rain it inside and shit it very well. Tie it to
it will not be easy for you, for your son.
No, the truth is, if a young girl gets married, gets pregnant for you by mistake, you get a job. That's what my mama warned me.
But Nima,
and that's why I stayed away from it.
Let me
tell you, it happens.
I've
seen it.
See your son now, Imran.
You worked all your life for your child
to be an engineer.
You've worked all your life for your child to become this high flyer. Now he has impregnated a girl. Okay. Is it possible for you to allow him?
I will not force them into a marriage.
Obiajulu, they asked you a question. He says, see Imran now.
Engineer. I have said I will not allow my kids or my family to be addressed on this show again. It has happened in the past. I will not address it.
Yes, exactly.
For a reason. But if a son is raised, let that son understand there's consequence for him as well. Don't give him the freedom to. The moment he starts, there's a popular somebody there that told somebody to go and drink something over her brother's pregnancy. You did not raise your brother to be upright. That's why you can be talking anyhow. Yes, raise your brother to be responsible. By the time he knows the load. I remember my mom and her 3 friends, these my 3 mothers, when they had this conversation with me. They told me, in my house, you are free, because as we they train you now when I know they hear word, no problem. But when the time comes, the consequence of it is that your life will stall. I will not force you to go to his house, but you will become a mother as quickly as you started it.
We say
the truth is that the woman will have to find the food. If a boy gets her pregnant, let the boy to be bringing money. Let the parents ensure he gets a job. The setback he will get will prevent him from 2-3 pregnancies. But when you see the trajectory that happens in our society, the boy that gets the first girl pregnant eventually gets 2-3 others pregnant because he did not take care of the responsibility of the first one. The family will come in. Some mothers will even become magnanimous grandmothers. They will collect the child from the girl, back him and say, my son cannot raise the child.
Let's bring it realistically.
Responsibility.
If a mother, let's
it's very realistic. It is the selfish part that allows mothers of the sons say their own son is not the one carrying the pregnancy.
But is it
if the pregnancy is not in question.
To find a middle ground, Nima, is it possible for, if you allow your son to live his dreams and you as a mother or father say, I'll take responsibility. Every single thing my son should be doing.
Their life should continue.
Like, I would help you in providing money. I'll do everything for this child. But my son is still going to Canada. Let me know, because I'm just like, I want to find a solution, because there are many mothers who are watching right now.
What I'm saying is actually a solution. So it's not compulsory for it to be every mother's dream. Yes. But I have seen a family friend, not many, just one person who did the same thing. And it worked out for her. Because that setback that boy had, till tomorrow, that child was 12 years different from the younger one. That's the number of years gap they had. But that one time made that boy sit up in his life.
Did he marry the woman?
No, he didn't. But he took care of his child.
Of course, he will.
He got a job. And in fact, the work experience he got was, as an example, the parents got him a job instead of sending him off to school. You want to go to school, what thing they do for the other side now? Because if you let him go to school, the girl grows up resentful, sometimes not feel life out of their babies.
Can I ask you this question? What if the boy runs away? Because a lot of
girls who have been running away. Adami ran away now. May Allah rest her soul. Girls have been running away with pregnancies when their parents kick them out in the dark. Nobody knows what happens to the boys. Consequence must be.
You don't even see the boy.
Question. First, the boy don't disappear.
He disappear.
We are talking as the parents of the boy. You are talking now as the parent of the girl.
No,
the parent of the girl.
I'm not talking as the parent of the girl.
To wrap up.
Let me explain something. A lot of people, they meet, and the parents are not even involved. I don't even know your house. We are meeting, we're in university, we are meeting in the hostel. I don't know your house. I can't tell you, say I get belay. Okay, I'm coming. You go find the boy tired. It's not your house now.
That kind of girl is on her own.
Okay, so let's establish something. So when we teach our children now, we have children that are growing up, and we tell them that every action has consequences. If you get anybody pregnant, you are going to stay away from school. You are going to do this. You are going to make sure that you take care of the child. I will not deny you. I will still love you unconditionally, but you will bear the consequences. We all say that. But the reality of the matter is, when it happens, you are processing as a parent differently. You are saying, do I pause these kids to whether the girl, I'm not saying the girl should take all the responsibility, the girl, the boy, should I pause they have so much dreams in front of them. You see your children come back, they have their A's, they have their, I want to go to Harvard, I want to go to this, I want to go there. They have all of those dreams laid out. And then this mistake, should I now say, because you have made this mistake, pause your life and go? Most parents don't think that way. And that is okay. That's selfish, but that's okay. So the thing is, okay, we can keep her here. That if actually you are the owner of the pregnancy, bring her home. She gives birth to the baby. She goes back to school. We, as the grandparents, will take care of the baby. We cannot throw away the baby at the bathwater. We have to be really realistic. You have made the mistake, and it's going to set you back a bit. Because for that time this girl is pregnant, two of you are going to be here to see how it's done. But afterwards, will I now keep them from not going to school at all?
After they don't born, they will decide.
I have a story.
Take care of the baby.
My former boss, and I won't mention her name, but I'm sure she wouldn't mind me sharing her story. I used to work with her. She was my direct boss. She had exactly that situation. She got pregnant. Of course, she didn't love the guy. And the guy left and moved on with his own dreams. She gave birth to the child, left the child with her parents, moved to Lagos to start a whole new life, continued her life. Her parents diligently raised that child. That child always knew her as auntie. He called her auntie all through his life till he became a teenager. I think maybe until like maybe 17 or so. And they now introduced him properly. This is your mother. It was heartbreaking for both of them for a while, but explain to the boy, this is why we had to do that.
Thank you for establishing what I meant.
She now asked for his forgiveness, and now they are close.
You have established what I meant as consequence. She did not get somebody pregnant and disappeared.
Yes.
She had a child. She suffered a setback.
Yes.
Of course. Then she picked up her life again. It has to be both parties. It is wrong traditionally that has happened over years, and I've seen it change when somebody did something different. By telling her son, you got this girl pregnant, both of you are stepping out. It was in secondary school. And when they did, they got back their lives later. But that child,
landed in the same
and the mother would every month call her son when he was in town.
So you agree that nobody should be obligated.
No. Obligated to marry. Obligated.
We didn't take
to marry.
Yes.
That was Morel's question.
We didn't take any comments on social media. Obviously, this is just our conversation. When
they did not drop it on Twitter.
Thanks so much. That is all. We do apologize. We heard that the show had to cut off on DSTV, I believe. We know it is showed on social media pages and also on GOTV. Mukinima, 5 seconds.
Okay, girl carry belle, you know me say you go marry her. You see, say the boy leg never strong until try use postino. Now this...
Okay, that's all we can do.
Have a great day. Having a child cannot be described as a mistake. Did they fall into bed by accident?
Yeah, well, okay. That's all we can take on today's show. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.